Hello everyone and welcome to the team selection for Gameweek 2 Fantasy Premier League Football. So yeah, obviously here we are again guys. Before we get into this video, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe for more, tell your friends and leave a comment down below if you wish to as well. So obviously before we discuss obviously the team selection for Gameweek 2, let us just quickly recap what happened in Gameweek 1. So as you know guys, you saw most of my team in the obviously the live stream. The only I think match that I didn't see afterwards was the Leeds and Everton one. So yeah, it's just a little update on that, just to see where I'm at in terms of rank after game week 1 and how many points I've got. So as you can see, the overall obviously rank for me is 4.5 million. And I can see down below me as well, and I am on 54 points for game week 1-2. So an average week, a bit mix of bad and good points in terms of the team. Obviously, I may quickly just discuss each obviously section of the team, how well it did. So if we have to start with the worst, we'll go with the forwards. So obviously, João Pedro, Gyökeres, and Bone all blanked for me in game week 1. Not really impressive performances from those obviously players and their teams, but there's obviously game week 1 is just a learning curve to see what obviously is to come. In terms of the midfield, we got obviously Salah and Kudos with returns, and then obviously Rogers and obviously Ndiaye do blank in between there, so a mix of good and bad there. In terms of defense, there's only really Van der Ven who got a clean sheet. I think Van Dijk obviously and Wan-Bissaka had their clean sheet wiped. But to make up with it, we've got Sanchez in goal, who got a nice 8-pointer, which kind of makes up for obviously Wan-Bissaka and Van Dijk sort of not getting a clean sheet or anything significant. So yeah, that kind of suppresses the obviously the mixed bad and good with the team. So yeah, obviously quick recap, guys, just so you're up to date of what's happening in week 1 for me. And now we shall move on to obviously what we've been waiting for, and that is obviously the team that I've gone with for game week 2. So starting off in goal is Sanchez, who has West Ham away, and obviously if you didn't see West Ham's first game, it wasn't sorry, it didn't go so well for them. Obviously they did lose 3-0 to Sunderland, which came at a surprise for a newly promoted team to beat West Ham significantly. So going forward into obviously Chelsea game, Chelsea have a really great squad, especially with the new signing João Pedro involved in that as well, alongside Palmer and the original obviously Chelsea that we saw last season in that team. So it is going to be a tough one again for West Ham, and most likely expect a clean sheet again for Chelsea, if I'm honest, even though it's an away game. Unless West Ham step their game up, but they do have to heavily rely on Bowen now, as there isn't really much of an attacking option for West Ham going forward. With the selections for the defence, so I've gone with Gabriel, Van Dijk, and Munoz. So obviously Gabriel has the nicest one against Leeds at home. Again, impressive win for Leeds, who won 1-0 against Everton in game week 1. Although this will be obviously a step up, as they are facing Arsenal, obviously home at the Emirates. So again, I don't think this will be a challenging task for Arsenal, even though the first game week they weren't really in fifth gear, sort of like in second or third against Man United. They did have to work for that. Not a surprise, obviously, because obviously Man United did look good in pre-season, and obviously we see the same sort of Arsenal from last season sort of appearing in week 1. But yeah, Gabriel to begin obviously the defensive lineup. Next to him is Van Dijk, who's got Newcastle away. So again, Newcastle is affected by the Isaac situation, with obviously him in silence for the club because of what's happened. I won't go into detail with that, but you may have heard what's obviously happened with Isaac, and yeah, that obviously has affected Newcastle as we did as we did see in the game week 1 game. But still, I mean, Liverpool, they looked pretty decent against Bournemouth. Defensively may looked a bit loose, but again, they are a goal machine at the moment with their new signings. Wirtz, obviously Frimpong, and most importantly, NTK as well up front, who did score 2 goals for them last weekend. So yeah, I don't know what to expect if there's a clean sheet or not for Liverpool. I still have to wait and see, obviously defensively, what they're like this season. But without really, obviously Trent being there in the team, I kind of feel like Van Dijk will sort of get the bonus points if they do have a good defensive performance against Newcastle. So there is that as well, and also the defensive contribution. If there isn't to be a clean sheet, you've got those extra 2 points there in case of anything. And finally, we've got Munoz, who has Nottingham Forest at home. Now, obviously, we know how attacking Munoz can be for Crystal Palace down the wing. So obviously, he is included in this team. Nottingham Forest also did beat, obviously, Brentford in Gameweek 1 impressively. But on the other hand, Brentford did lose a lot of key players in their team. But it should be a good game between Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. It's a hard one to call, if I'm honest. But I sort of side towards Nottingham Forest a little bit more just from what I saw from Gameweek 1. But yeah, it's always a nice fixture at home in terms of Crystal Palace. So moving on to the midfield 4 selection. So we've got 4 in there in terms of players. So the first one is Kudos, who has Man City away. Obviously, the new signing for Spurs looked impressive in Gameweek 1. Got a 10-pointer for the 2 assists from I believe from Richarlison's goals. So yeah, he kicked off the season really great. A tougher challenge, obviously, against Man City away. I'm kind of in the sort of situation where I have to play, obviously, Kudos. Not really tempted at playing their defender like a Van der Ven or a Van Bissaka off the bench. So I'm not expecting much, but there has been improvement from Tottenham, especially with Thomas Frank now as their manager. New manager effect could be in place for Spurs, and I think it's going to be similar to Arsenal, Man United. I think Spurs are going to make it tough for Man City, but I do think Man City would take obviously the game to them at the Etihad. But maybe there is some contribution from Kudos, whether it's in a goal or assist, because I don't think Man City will keep a clean sheet. Next to him is Rodgers, who has Brentford away. And yeah, this possibly could be good for Watkins and Rodgers owners, because as we've seen from obviously Brentford, they have been stripped a bit, losing Norgard. And obviously in Burmo has evidently looked like they are not the strong Brentford that we did see last season. And yeah, missing these key players has definitely affected them. Also, Ben Mee in defence too. So every part of their obviously positions for Brentford have been notably affected, and yeah, maybe Aston Villa could take advantage of that as they haven't really lost any of their obviously key players. Although Konza is suspended for this fixture, so that could make things interesting for obviously the defence after that red card that he sustained in Gameweek 1. Third, obviously, is Salah, who's got Newcastle away. He is currently the captain selection. I'm not really going elsewhere, if I'm honest. The only likely player I would go to is probably Gyökeres, who has Leeds at home, but he only played an hour in the Gameweek 1 match against Man United, and even that didn't really swayed me to obviously pick him as a captain option. Other than that, there is João Pedro too there, but again, these 2 players didn't really give me the confidence to obviously captain them this week. And seeing as Salah did score over these 2 players, I think I'm going to leave the captaincy over him and keep the faith and go with Salah again, who has Newcastle away. And finally, we've got Ndiaye, who has Brighton at home, and I feel like this is like a neutral type game. Not really sure how to call it, especially from obviously Everton losing to Leeds 1-0, which again was an interesting result from obviously the first game week. I'm sure they'll turn it around. I think there's goals in both sides of this game, but I'm willing to give obviously him another chance, like I am with the rest of these players, and just to see what they can do. And obviously, game week 3 will be possibly where I decide to do depending on how Game Week 2 goes, deciding who should be the one to leave the team and obviously who's to be transferred in. But home game for Everton, I'm sure they can obviously maybe get the 3 points. And then obviously finally the front three is unchanged. It still remains the same: João Pedro, Gyökeres, and Bowen. So obviously we'll start off with Bowen, who has Chelsea at home playing against obviously João Pedro. And yeah, there's good and bad points of obviously having Bowen now, because obviously he did have a disallowed goal in Game Week 1, which was a major blow. And obviously West Ham didn't score at all in that game after that. So yeah, it is notably that West Ham are heavily reliant on Bowen. And I think that's the issue now, because before we had Antonio, obviously Paqueta was there. We had these type of players that would share that goal involvement, but it just looks like now they're solely resting on Bowen to obviously put the goals behind the net. Again, that's a good and bad thing, but I don't expect Bowen to score every game week. That's the problem. So again, he could be a player that I might be transferring out next week if he isn't contributing at all against that, obviously that Chelsea game, which is difficult. But I do think West Ham could be in some trouble if they are to be beating Sunderland by 3-0. Moving on, vice captain is Gyökeres, who has lead. Obviously, the double up of Gabriel and Gyökeres. And yeah, I'm hoping to see more from Arsenal. Hopefully, some more obviously goal involvement from Gyökeres. Hopefully, there's obviously a lot of hype from obviously Arsenal fans to see obviously that big signing like him come to Arsenal. So yeah, I think this is a good test for a player like Gyökeres to obviously see him in action, see what he can do, what's to look ahead obviously in the future for of the season. And yeah, I think we'll see some goals from Gyökeres against Leeds at home. I think it's going to be a high scoring game for Arsenal. And finally, we've got João Pedro, who has West Ham away. And I think, yeah, again, I see this game being a high scoring fixture too. If someone can obviously score 3 against West Ham, I'm sure with the squad that Chelsea have, they're all capable of replicating something similar towards that, because obviously they have more talent in that squad and arguably one of the best midfields of this season as well, combined with that. So yeah, there's high hopes for João Pedro. I mean, he has been a bit of a troll in the past with Brighton when we've obviously owned him and he hasn't returned, and then when we haven't owned him, he has. So I'm hoping that he can sort of replenish that in that obviously that West Ham away fixture. Obviously bench options, we've got Darlow and Donovan. They're the non-playing selections, just for budget reasons they are there. So the only players really there that are really important are Van de Ven and Wan-Bissaka in case of anything was to happen. I say a player was benched and didn't play. Obviously, Van de Ven would be the first selection to come on. Not ideal because he has Man City away. And then obviously not ideal again when Wan-Bissaka has Chelsea at home. So I'm hoping that neither of those two players actually do come on, because I don't really see much in terms of a clean sheet. Maybe a defensive contribution, maybe from Wan-Bissaka or Van de Ven, but other than that, I'm not really looking to get many points on the bench. Obviously, in terms of transfers, I do have obviously one free transfer, but again, I'm not really looking to do any moves. I just want to see what happens in this game week before I make any decisions. So I will be rolling the transfer over to game week 3, where I will have 2 free transfers to use, and I think that gives me a bit more a clear mind and obviously a better perspective on my team, and see where the points have been allocated and how the players have obviously performed in ME2. I think that'll just give me more clarity on who I should keep and who I shouldn't. Because I feel like if I remove someone like, let's say, for example, if I remove Bowen now, he is going to be removed eventually. But if I do it now and this week, when he's got Chelsea at home and he ends up scoring, then there's obviously that instant regret. So I'm going to leave the team as it is, as you can see it there. And yeah, obviously roll, and hopefully this game week is a decent one, like the first one. Hopefully more than 54 points, and yeah, we'll take it from there. But I think it's a good team in terms of the starting 11. A couple of difficult fixtures here and there, but I feel like it could be an average game week for me. Now let's take a few of your comments, guys, because I can see them rolled in the chat, and yeah, we'll wrap it up after that. So first one is animations. Hello, hope you're doing well. Nice to see you. Your comment is, what replacements would you say are good for Frimpong? Thinking about Ain't Nuri and Munoz. So yeah, obviously Ain't Nuri obviously got his clean sheet in the Man City game against Wolves, against his former side. He showed some attacking threat here and there, had a couple of shots, a bit obviously off target, and yeah, I think he's a good option at 6 million premium defender to go for. Again, I like both of those selections that you've mentioned, Ain't Nuri and Munoz, because we know Munoz can get those attacking returns and is obviously a goal threat as well as a defender. So I like them, the combination of both. If I had to prioritize which one, I'd probably go for this week. I'll probably go for possibly. It's a tough one because Spurs have Man City. Right, is that Etihad? I think I'll go at Nuri as a priority if I was thinking to. In terms of replacements for Frimpong, I'll probably go for Nuri over Munoz. But I do like both, having both in the team. I was thinking of trying to fit in Ain't Nuri, but the budget is making it a little bit difficult. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Next we have Harry. Good evening. I got 87 bench boost. I transferred in Odegaard this week, captain. Only 3.8% owned. Yeah, well done. Obviously, using the bench boost and getting 87 points, I must have been a decent, obviously, bench boost to have. And you transferred in Odegaard this week. Interesting. And captain too. Very, very different. I like the pick, obviously, captain, because I feel like in these newly promoted teams, not the player we expect to score does. So a player like Odegaard could have the opportunity to bag a goal this game week. So I don't hate the captain move. It's a nice differential one against Leeds at home. So yeah, I like the tic tacs you got there, Harry, with the captain pick and the transfer. Mahjong, out of Sanchez, Dubravka, Pedro Porro, Diouf, Murillo, Lacroix, Esteve. Which goalkeeper and 3 defenders will you start? Cheers, man. Good luck for Game Week 2. Yeah, thank you. Good luck as well for Game Week 2 also. Out of Sanchez, Dubravka. Obviously, Sanchez. I think I would say I probably will start Sanchez because he has West Ham away, and I mean the only person I see scoring against Sanchez is the likelihood of Bowen. I don't really see, well, from my perspective, I don't really see any other West Ham player that could possibly score against Chelsea, and I think Sanchez has, as a goalkeeper, improved. I think we saw that a lot in the Super Cup. That Chelsea did win, and he was a key part to winning that. But yeah, on topic, yeah, I would pick Sanchez as the goalkeeper to start. In terms of the defenders, I would probably pick. It's difficult because you've got Murillo and Lacroix who play against each other. So you kind of have to pick one or the other, and you've got Pedro Porro there in the mix. Obviously, there's Diouf there for West Ham, but again, I don't really want to play a West Ham player either. You know what? I'd probably play Pedro Porro just in case there isn't maybe an attacking involvement from him. Murillo for Nottingham Forest, and it's either a Steve or Lacroix. I mean, I'll probably play a Steve. I mean, yes, Sunderland at home, and yeah, I'd rather play that instead of the clash of Lacroix and Murillo together. So I'll pick Pedro Porro, Murillo, and then Steve, and then play Sanchez as your goalkeepers to start. Cheers, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Obviously, animations for your question. It's always appreciated. I'm glad it's helped answer, obviously, that question you had. Majon, Frimpong take Nuri or Gabriel for long term. Yeah, interesting. Fring, Nuri or Gabriel, who I see getting more clean sheets. It would have to be Gabriel, I think. It's just because we've seen the capabilities of what Gabriel can do, especially from set pieces like corners. That aerial threat from his headers has led to many of his goals from last season happening. And I feel like with Nuri, we're not quite sure how. I mean, he's getting clean sheets, obviously, like Gabriel, but in terms of his attack and return, I think these two will compete between each other who gets more. But I think Gabriel will get more of the obviously goal involvements than obviously Nuri will. We'll see, obviously, through the season how that develops between the two. But yeah, I'll probably do Frimpong to. I'll probably do Frimpong to Gabriel for long term. I think because Nuri has Spurs as well. Gonna be a tough game to get a clean sheet in. So yeah, I'll probably do Frimpong to Gabriel for long term. Thank you, really helps. Yeah, I obviously appreciate for your questions. Thank you, Majon. So yeah, guys, just a quick, obviously, update as well. There won't be for the rest of the season. There won't be a knee-jerk reaction or a deadline stream. There will only be a team selection now. From obviously from now to the end of the season. So yeah, there won't be like what we normally do, a deadline stream or like a reaction after obviously after all the matches have been played. So there'll only be a team selection like this one now for the foreseeable of obviously this season. But hopefully I think that is all, guys. That's all discussed. I want to say thank you for watching as always, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more, and tell your friends obviously about the channel. And if you want to join our mini league, the code is in the banner down below. As you can see, moving is also in the description. There is an auto join link in there too, if you wish to obviously join our mini league and compete and see if you can make it to the top. But obviously, until now, guys, thank you. I will obviously bid you a farewell now. And yeah, I'll be back for obviously a team selection for Gameweek 3. Hopefully, good luck for your teams, because I won't see it until the next, obviously, game week. But yeah, take care, guys, and I will see you on the next one.